Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over the Chober Chaber Leaden Hammer. Great hammer, actually. This is an interesting item that seems to be based around the idea of a witch, or rather, witch-like character, setting up a build all around minions. Let's talk about it. So first off, it is a two-handed mace, so you're going to have to drop that staff, and it is a physical damage of 112 to 151, which is not bad. It's a decent little level 33 hammer. Now, it also has a 10% critical strike hit chance, and this is because of a bonus on the item. Its normally default is 5. Attacks per second is 1.10. It does require level 33, 76 strength, which is pretty high, and also 100 intelligence, which is very high for a hammer. It does roll between 80 to 120% increased physical damage, 80 to 100 maximum mana. We also have the 5% bonus to critical hit chance, which is why this one is 5% higher than normal. And it also has plus 100 intelligence requirement. Now this is kind of neat because the entire idea of this is to force it into the hands of somebody who's utilizing minions. And this is the last item, is probably the most important. So it says increases and reductions. 2 minion damage also affect you. And of course your minions are things like the skeletons. Like if you're running an occult necromancer, if you're running an occult witch, and you're utilizing skeleton warriors, you're using skeleton sniper, you're getting things like skeleton arsonist, raised zombie, skeleton frost mage, maybe utilizing the skeleton reaver, the skeletal storm mage, the skeletal brute, the skeletal cleric. There's just tons and tons of skeletons, right? So you could potentially make whatever build you want as a minion occultist, and then get all of your minion buffs, beefing up your army, but then at the same time run around with a big giant hammer in the middle of your army, dishing out damage. Now this means that you could potentially utilize all the minion modifiers. Like for instance, if we take a look on the passive tree, I think that's probably where we're going to find most of these, and we just type in Minion, I'm sure that's going to come up with a lot of things. And right here we've got minions deal increased damage. So 10% increased, 15% increased, 10% increased, 10% increased, right? As far as I'm aware, the way that that's worded is all of these apply to you. We've also got link skills cannot target damageable minions. We've got revive faster. Yep, damage. Minions have cooldown recovery rate. Attack speed, that would probably also apply to you as well. I wonder if maximum life also applies to you. I mean, the way the item is worded is increases and reductions. It doesn't specifically state increases to damage. It doesn't specifically quote, decreases or reductions in damage. So anything that increases or reduces the minion's maximum life, minion's attack speed, the whole 9 yards, anything like physical damage reduction, I would assume that anything that states increase or reduction would apply. So if it doesn't say increase or reduction, I'm not sure, but like right here, minions have 20% increased critical strike hit chance. That probably applies to you as well. Minions have 10% increased damage. That probably most definitely applies. And minions have 40% increased critical strike damage bonus. That most definitely applies. I don't know. It seems kind of crazy. The number of options that you have here for, like, potential benefits that could apply to you. And, of course, you'd have to, like, test them out and make sure which ones work and which ones don't. But there's a lot of various things that we could look at here for bonuses. And the interesting thing here also is that you would still have an army, right? Like, you're not just going to give up on the army. You would still have some skeletons, and you would still have the bonuses applying to them as well. Now, because this is a two-handed hammer, I mean, obviously we have tons of minion bonuses, and we could go on for days looking at the minion bonuses. But the truth of the matter is we don't know exactly how many of these are going to apply to you and how many are not. I mean, if we just take it as the literal translation of increased and reduction, this says reduction, right? So minions have 12% reduced reservation. Reservation effects are present in portion given source, usually spirit, although it can also be life or mana. I wonder if that would also apply to you, increasing the total number of minions that you could potentially have. Interesting. But if you were utilizing this big giant Hawken mace, you would probably also be using mace class abilities. So there's different mace class abilities you could potentially be using. You could use Leap Slam to move around. That would be kind of cool. I wonder if any of these... Armor Breaker might come in handy to reduce the armor of the monsters for your minions. It is a big old giant two-hander. You could also go with things like the ground, what is it, the spikes underneath the ground that makes like the fissures. That can also be something. War cries are also an option here too, aren't they? I think so. Yeah, you've got Infernal Cry, which is increased War Cry speed. You've got... Huh. I mean, it's a really a weird kind of a setup. I mean, it's basically a warrior who is getting benefits from the minions. So you could either set it up as an occultist, who is using a two-handed weapon, build minions and build mace skills, or you could set it up as a warrior who is using the mace and just simply getting the added benefits of having the minion abilities and like the minion bonuses, like setting up for minion bonuses and maybe even summoning a couple minions to his side. It does require a large amount of intelligence though, so this build would most likely be an intelligence / strength build. Obviously, the 100 intelligence is the main requirement there, but it still requires 76 strength, which is still a pretty decent amount of strength. My character is kind of unique in that I kind of have all the stats at the moment, but I'm utilizing some interesting bonuses. I don't even think it would be near this particular character in terms of output, but I'm using this tree down here that gives all stats. And 10% increase to all attributes, which is really interesting. I wonder if that's actually affecting the stats on the item. Because I do have let me see here. So what is this? 49, 49. I do have this node that reduces the stat requirements of items. So equipment and skill gems have 4% reduced attribute requirements. This allows me to equip equipment that I wouldn't otherwise normally. So I'm curious whether that is actually being reduced by the equipment load. Anyway, a very interesting item for sure. And definitely one of those weird items that you could potentially build an entire character around. Yes, you could totally build an entire character around this. Like, there is no question about that. The real question is, do you want to? Like, is this something that you're actually interested in doing? Because I don't know. It's got a cool name too, Chober Chaber. The faithful may continue to serve even after death. Alright guys and gals, as always, I'd appreciate you watching these videos. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content. And as always,